If you've ever scrolled through social media and suddenly felt like everyone else is living a better life than you, you're not imagining it. There's a psychological reason behind that feeling. Hey everyone, welcome back. It's really good to have you here today. We are going to dive deep into a feeling that almost every single one of us has experienced but rarely talks about honestly. It's that sinking feeling in your stomach when you see a group of friends hanging out without you. Or that subtle pinch of anxiety when you see someone your age achieving a major milestone while you feel stuck in the same place. We call it FOMO, the fear of missing out. But here's the thing that most people don't realize: FOMO isn't actually about what is happening on your screen. It is not about the party you missed or the vacation you didn't take. It is actually a complex internal signal, a fascinating mix of biology, evolution, and modern technology working together to trick your brain. Today, we are going to peel back the layers of why this happens, why it hurts, and how understanding the psychology behind it can help you reclaim your peace of mind. To understand why a simple photo on Instagram or a status update can ruin your mood, we have to look backward before we look forward. Think about that for a moment. For thousands of years, human beings lived in small tribes. Our survival literally depended on being part of the group. If you were left out, or if you missed out on important social information, it wasn't just inconvenient, it was dangerous. Psychologists often describe this as our evolutionary wiring for social belonging. Back then, being excluded meant you might not survive the winter. So, our brains developed a hypersensitivity to social standing. We are biologically designed to scan our environment to make sure we are still relevant, still valued, and still included. But here is where the problem starts in the modern world. Your brain hasn't really updated its software since those tribal days. When you are sitting alone on your couch on a Friday night, and you see a photo of your friends at dinner, your brain doesn't just think, "Oh, they are having fun." It triggers a primal alarm bell that says, "Warning, you are being excluded. You are at risk." This next insight might explain a lot about why that feeling is so physical. Research indicates that social rejection or the feeling of isolation activates the same regions of the brain as physical pain. So when we say FOMO hurts, we aren't just being dramatic. Psychologically, it creates a genuine state of tension. But here's the part most people never realize, and it drives the cycle of FOMO deeper. It is the concept of social comparison. Humans have a natural drive to evaluate themselves, and the only way we know how to do that is by comparing our lives to the lives of others. This is a standard psychological concept, but social media completely broke the scale. In the past, you might compare yourself to your neighbor or your coworker. You had a realistic frame of reference. Today, however, you are comparing your behind-the-scenes reality with everyone else's highlight reel. You see the influencers, the celebrities, the friends who only post their best angles, and your brain unfairly compares your worst days to their best days. This creates a distortion. Most people forget that what they see online is edited, curated, and filtered. You don't see the arguments, the stress, the debt, or the insecurities that those people face. You only see the vacation sunset. And because your brain is trying to measure your social standing, it assumes that their life is the standard. And because your life feels messy in comparison, you feel like you are falling behind. And this is where social media quietly influences us in ways we don't expect. It creates a sense of relative deprivation. This is the idea that we don't judge our happiness by what we have, but by what we think we should have based on what we see others having. If you are happy with your job, but then you log on and see 3 people getting promoted or starting businesses, suddenly your happiness dips. Nothing changed in your life, only your point of comparison changed. This is why you can be having a perfectly lovely day, open an app, and 5 minutes later feel completely inadequate. It is not that your life isn't good, it is that the context shifted. And this brings us to a critical point about how these platforms are designed. They thrive on novelty and scarcity. Have you ever noticed how stories on platforms disappear after 24 hours? That is not an accident. That design choice taps into a powerful psychological principle called loss aversion. Research suggests that human beings are wired to care much more about avoiding a loss than gaining a reward. The pain of losing $5 is psychologically stronger than the joy of finding $5. So, when content is temporary, or when a live stream is happening right now, your brain registers a potential loss. It says, if I don't look now, I will miss this forever. This creates a sense of artificial urgency. You might not even care about the content, but the fear of losing the opportunity to see it drives the behavior. This scarcity, the feeling that experiences are fleeting, keeps us locked in a state of hypervigilance. Constantly checking just in case something important is happening without us. Here's the surprising part that explains why we keep coming back even when it makes us feel bad. It has to do with dopamine and variable rewards. You have probably heard about dopamine, the brain's feel-good chemical. But dopamine isn't just about pleasure, it is about seeking. It is the chemical that motivates us to look for things. Social media operates like a slot machine. Most of the time, you scroll and see nothing interesting. But every once in a while, you see something funny, or you get a like, or you see a notification. That unpredictability is what psychologists call an intermittent reinforcement schedule. Because you don't know when the reward is coming, you keep pulling the lever. You keep scrolling. And when you combine that addictive loop with the fear that others are having more fun than you, it becomes very difficult to look away. We begin to believe that the truth of the world is happening on the screen, and our offline reality is just the waiting room. But this next piece reveals why FOMO hits so hard for so many of us, specifically regarding our life timelines. We often look at social media as a scoreboard. We see people getting married, buying houses, traveling the world, or launching careers, and we internalize a clock. We feel like we are late. If you've ever felt like your life isn't moving fast enough, you're far from alone. This is one of the most common feelings people report regarding social media use. We see a montage of everyone else's peak moments and assume our linear, slower journey is broken. We forget that people usually don't post about their waiting periods. They don't post about the 3 years of struggle before the business worked. They don't post about the loneliness they felt before they met their partner. We are comparing our insides to their outsides, and that is a recipe for emotional exhaustion. So, knowing all of this, how do we navigate it? How do we live in a digital world without feeling constantly less than? While experts have many theories, the solutions are often softer and more personal than we think. It starts with realizing that FOMO is often a signal that we are looking for connection, not content. When you feel that pang of jealousy or sadness, it is often your brain asking for engagement, not with an app, but with your own life. Many people find it helpful to practice what is sometimes called mindful scrolling. This simply means catching yourself in the moment. When you feel that tension rise, pause and ask, am I enjoying this, or am I measuring myself? Just that split second of awareness can break the spell. Another approach that many find peaceful is the active curation of their environment. You have full permission to mute or unfollow accounts that trigger your insecurities, even if they are friends or family. If seeing someone's extravagant lifestyle makes you feel poor rather than inspired, it is okay to remove that stimulus. You are the architect of your digital feed. Some people say this brings them more peace than almost any other change. By filling your feed with things that educate you, make you laugh, or calm you down, you change the inputs your brain is processing. You move from a state of comparison to a state of enjoyment. And here is a perspective shift that changes everything. Try to embrace JOMO, the joy of missing out. This is the quiet satisfaction of knowing that you are exactly where you are supposed to be. It is the realization that by missing out on what everyone else is doing, you are actually present for your own life. You are present for the coffee you are drinking, the book you are reading, or the quiet moment you are having. When you stop worrying about the hypothetical fun others are having, you create space to actually enjoy the reality in front of you. Research on gratitude often suggests that shifting our focus to what we currently possess, rather than what we lack, significantly reduces feelings of envy. It sounds simple, but in the heat of a FOMO moment, taking a breath and naming 3 things you're grateful for right now can short-circuit the comparison loop. It is also helpful to remember that everyone, even the people you envy, experiences FOMO. That influencer traveling the world often misses their family. The person with the high-powered career often misses having free time. No one has it all, but social media is designed to make it look like some people do. When you realize that everyone is trading one set of experiences for another, the envy starts to lose its grip. You begin to see that life isn't a ladder that everyone is climbing, it is a vast landscape, and we are all just walking different paths. Your path doesn't need to look like theirs to be valid. Social media didn't invent FOMO, it simply magnified it. It took an ancient survival instinct and put it into overdrive. But once you understand the psychology behind it, you gain the power to scroll with confidence instead of comparison. You can look at a photo and appreciate it without letting it determine your worth. You can put the phone down and trust that you aren't missing anything more important than the life happening right in front of you. If this video helped you understand the mind a little better, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for spending your time with me today, and remember to take care of yourself out there.